Happy Sabbath, Sister Gibson. Happy Sabbath, Sister Marisol. Okay. All right. So this morning, what's up, Rob? Good to see you, man. This morning we're going to, well, today and tomorrow, we are going to finish up. Today and tomorrow we're going to finish up our discussion, our conversation, our devotion in reference to trust. This whole week we've been talking about trust and how important trust is. We've been talking about trust in the relation of trusting yourself, trusting your strength, trusting your outcome, the outcome of the situation, trusting trusting your abilities, trusting just being able to trust is not an easy task. Um, you know, it's not an easy task to trust in yourself and to trust what you can do, to trust what you're able to do. It's not an easy task. But we talk about trust in the ways of how we talk about it because we want to encourage one another to just trust, to understand what trust means, to understand why we trust to begin with. We trust God because we believe that there is a God. We believe that there is a source of power that governs the entire universe. Not only does it govern the entire universe, but it also lives within us. It gives us the ability to get up and to move. It gives us the ability to get up and go and not be held down and not be troubled by what goes on around us. We have the opportunity to see things from that perspective because of what God has done for us. We often become confused when something happens that we're unprepared for. And then we start to question everything else that God has done for us because of something that didn't go the way that we expected to. Because something didn't go the way we planned it to, we get confused and we say to ourselves that maybe this wasn't God's plan to begin with. Maybe what we're doing is incorrect. Maybe what we're doing is wrong. And what I'm going to tell you this morning is that not necessarily that's the case. You see, trust, it goes hand in hand with something that I like to consider to be another 5-letter word that is so pinnacle and important to our faith, important to our race, important to who we are. Trust is what faith is connected to. When you have faith in something, there is a level of trust that needs to be connected to that faith. In order for you to understand trust, one must have faith. So this morning we are going to take a look at faith and trust. We're going to look at faith and trust, and we're going to connect the dots between the two letters, between the two words. Because at the end of the day, it's all about your faith that's going to help you to trust. Big Greg, what's up? And if your faith is strong, then your trust will be stronger. But if your faith is weak, then you can almost expect for your trust to be the same thing. So let's pray. Father in heaven, we want to thank you, Lord, for giving us this time, this moment, this opportunity to spend time in your word. Lord God, we are not worthy to even open up your Bible and read your word, interpret your word. But Lord, you have saw it fit that we are able So, Lord, we pray that you will continue to lift us up and to increase us, dear Father. Help, Lord, that we will continue to obey and abide in you. Father, we ask you to help us to learn how to trust and learn how to have faith. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. We often look at trust and faith as something that go hand in hand, like we said. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You need peanut butter in order to make the jelly taste substance, and you need the jelly to give the peanut butter the sweetness that it needs, right? It's like milk and cereal. You need milk to be added to cereal in order for the cereal to have its zest, to have its flavor, and to have its pop. That's what you need cereal for. That's what you want cereal for. You add the milk in order for the cereal to taste good. It's just like egg and cheese. You have the egg to complement the cheese. All right, I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hungry. But that's why we have trust and faith. We have trust because we're trusting that what we're doing is what is the right thing to do. We have faith because we believe that what we're doing is right. See, if you can't trust what you're doing, then how on earth are you going to believe in what you're doing? If you don't have trust in what you're doing, how can you believe in what you're doing? You often have to ask yourself that question because we have to have trust in God to the point that we can hear him speak to us. We can hear him calling out to us. We can see situations lining up for us, and we have to be able to respond and say, yes, Lord, here I am. Yes, Lord, hear me. We have to be able to do that. And the way that we do that is by having unequivocal faith and trust in him. See, Moses is trusting in God, something that is unseen. But because God is seen in this situation where we get to see him, he gets to see him through this bush. Hey, Jesse the Body, how you doing? When we see him and we observe him and we look upon him, then we understand who God is. But because we don't have that opportunity to see no burning bush out of nowhere, we don't see no opportunity of seeing God face to face, we have to have trust and faith that God exists. And when he calls unto us, we have to respond and say, here I am. In verse 5, he says, do not come any closer. God said, take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. All this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. See, any one of us would have been in that same situation and would have done the same exact thing. If you were to say, or if it was revealed to you that where you are and who you're talking to was actually God, what would your response be? How would you even respond to that? Would you run over to hug him or to try to hug him? Would you hide your face because you knew you committed some type of sin prior to going to see God and you didn't ask for forgiveness? Or maybe you just are a skeptic and you don't believe in anything that I'm saying, nor do you believe in anything that is going on in front of you. Perhaps those are some of the things that are going on in your life. Maybe those are some of the things that you are responding to, that you're saying. Maybe you're saying, no way, I can't do this. No way, this is God. No way, I'm going to go through with this. Perhaps you're saying that maybe this is not what I am expecting, so I'm going to reject it altogether. See, that's what some people do because they don't expect certain things from God, because they don't expect the way God shows up. They just reject the entire notion of God altogether. They reject the fact that God even exists because they haven't seen him for themselves. They haven't watched him for themselves. They haven't heard his voice for themselves. Bombshell, how you doing this morning? Good to see you this morning. Good to see you. They don't look. And because they don't look, because they don't want to look, and because the information is not given to them in a way that they can compute and understand and comprehend, they just reject it altogether. That's fine. As long as you're here. That's all that matters. See, but Moses was given confirmation of what he was looking at. He was looking at this burning bush. And because God spoke to him through the bush, he was given that confirmation. Now, we may never receive that confirmation directly from God through his voice. We may never see a burning bush in the middle of the street and say, oh, well, let me walk closer to that bush. We may never do that. And we may never hear that voice coming from the bush. But we have to understand that there are different ways nowadays that God reaches out to us. And sometimes he doesn't reach out to us the way that he used to back in the day. Sometimes he reaches out to us through situations in your life. Sometimes he reach out to you through the things that you see, through close calls. One way that God reached out to me one time is when I was racing. Now, when I was young. When I was young and I had my older car, and my older car was a younger car, I was reckless. I used to race all the time. I used to drive up on people. People used to drive up on me, and we used to race all the time. But there was a situation where I was racing and I was driving, and I sped off and I left the person in the back of me. And I wasn't paying attention to the road in front of me, and I didn't notice that there was traffic building up. So I had to maneuver myself. And in the split second, I said to myself, oh, in the split second, I said, Father, forgive me. Because in my mind, I thought I was gonna get into a wreck. I thought it was gonna be horrible. And in that split second, my car didn't lock up. Because if you're driving at high speeds and you hit the brake too fast, it can seize your brakes. It can lock up your brakes. So I saw it from afar and I started slowing down and I started downshifting, at all simultaneously. And the car started to slow down. And then I kind of veered over to the shoulder because I wasn't sure if I was going to stop in time. And because I veered over to the shoulder, I was able to stop even more. And by the time I stopped myself, I was literally this close to hitting the person in front of me. Just take over. Good to see you this morning. When that happened, I was saying to myself, okay, I need to stop what I'm doing. Because clearly, God is trying to give me a message. Clearly, God is saying that this is not the type of way I should be driving, first off, and this is not the type of way I should be doing my thing. Miami Bay, how you doing this morning? Good to see you this morning. Oh, beautiful baby right there. It's a beautiful baby. I had to do that. I had to go through that. And that wasn't the one time I experienced something like that. I've experienced stuff like that all the time. In a way, that was God's way of talking to me because I'm hard-headed. I've always been hard-headed ever since I was a kid. I've always tried to push the envelope as I was a kid. As a kid, I didn't like to listen to authority. I respected authority, but I didn't like to listen to authority because I always wanted to know, well, why? Why are you telling me not to talk in class? Why can't I talk in class? I have something I got to say. I got to say to my friend. Let me say it to my friend real quick. What you're saying on the board is not going to change. You're talking and you're writing it. Why don't I just write it and I'll figure it out later? But, I learned over time the reason why I shouldn't talk in class because I'm giving information that's not going to be found in the book. I'm giving information that's not going to be found in my homework. I'm going to be given information that I will only receive from the teacher, but I have to listen to what the teacher is saying. I won't be able to read it for myself. I won't be able to understand it and comprehend it for myself if I don't pay attention and listen to the teacher who's trying to break it down. See, that's the whole thing with Christianity. That's what Christianity is all about. Yes, you can read the Bible front to back. You can try to comprehend the Bible, but if you don't pray and ask God to speak to you, and if you don't listen to God's voice, and I can't really explain how God's voice works because God's voice works for different people. See, for me, for example, God speaks to me through situations. I have to go through situations. I have to be pushed in situations in order to understand and to hear God. But I also need to see for myself how God works through those situations. See, I know other people who are able to hear God and they hear him through what they read. They may read something in the Bible and that is what they need at that present moment in time. And what they get from that present moment in time, they feel good about that situation. They feel good about what they've been through for that very reason. But it all goes back and it circles to trust what's unseen. My phone was working downstairs. Cold? Nah, this is light. This is light. This is light, but it is kind of chilly this morning. And I'm in my attic, and the window is open. So it is kind of slightly chilly. Verse 7. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them cry out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptian and to bring them up and out of that land into a good, spacious land, in the land flowing with milk and honey. So God is saying that, listen, I'm getting sick and tired of what's going on to my people. I'm getting sick and tired of what's happening to my people. So as a result of me getting sick and tired, as a result of me getting upset, as a result of me going through this and feeling this way, I'm going to step down here and I'm going to take care of the situation. I'm going to remedy the situation. But guess what? I'm going to have to need some help. I'm going to need some help to do that, because me, physically, God cannot just step down and do something like that. He's going to send someone in his place. So we see here, it says also, the home of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hizarites, and the Jebusites. And now the cries of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way of the Egyptians are opposing them. So now go, and I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. So he said all this to tell this to Moses, that I need you to go take care of this. Now, Moses, according to the Bible, Moses was a very shy individual. Moses was very shy. He was very scared. He was very timid. He didn't trust himself. He didn't believe himself. He stuttered. He didn't have the fortitude to ask such a question. He wasn't young and spry as he used to be. He was an older man now. And he was saying to himself, well, I hear you, Lord. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But I'm too old. I can't do what you're asking me to do. I don't have enough trust and faith in myself to do what you're asking me to do. And as a result, because I see something in you. See, God is going to see something in you. He looks within you and he sees something special about you. Something that you may not see for yourself. Something that you may not even observe for yourself. Because you might not be able to see it because you're blinded by what you can't see. You're blinded by what you can't see. And as a result of you being blinded to what you can't see, then it's hard for you to even see what God sees. Take off your blinders. Verse 11. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? That's a pertinent question. Think about it. Moses himself saw that he didn't have what it takes. He knew he didn't have what it takes. So he would ask the question to God, well, God, what do you see in me? And who am I that I should do that? That I should step into that realm? I should step up to the plate? That I should be the one to say, hey, listen, Pharaoh, you need to let God's people go. Listen, it ain't me saying it, it's God saying it. So that means you got to do it. Yeah. Don't take your aggression out on me. I'm just the messenger. Who am I to just be the messenger in this situation? Who am I to just be that messenger? I don't want to be that messenger. And you can't really blame Moses for not feeling like, I don't want to be in that situation. You can't blame Moses for being in the situation that he's in. He's scared. He's nervous. He didn't know what to expect. He didn't know what to see. He didn't know what was going to happen. And as a result of him not knowing what was going to happen or not seeing what was going to happen, he did not have faith in himself. But this morning, I want to tell you and encourage you that you should have faith in yourself, that you should try to have faith in yourself. You can accomplish more things than you know. Just because you haven't been in the situation before, just because you don't know how the situation is going to go, just because you don't know what happens before the situation, doesn't mean that you cannot be successful through the situation, because you need to have faith and trust in God that he saw something special in you before you even saw it in yourself. And when you accomplish your goal and you accomplish your mission and you look back and you say, you know what, when I started this, I didn't believe I was going to be able to get through it, but look what, I did it. You know, I said that to myself when I went back to school and got my bachelor's degree. I got my associate's degree and I was okay with that and I was happy with that. But I said, you know what? In this situation, in this society, I'm going to need more. I'm going to need I'm going to need a bigger degree. I'm going to need a better degree. See, right now, I'm in the midst of thinking about going back to school for teaching. I'm thinking about going back to school for teaching. See, I worked in a corporate realm for 10 years of my life. You know, I was 21 when I started that. And, you know, as I went through that entire, decade of working for a corporate setting, I said to myself, I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to wake up and go into an office building and punch in a time clock and sit behind a desk and type all day. I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I want to do something that's going to mean something to someone else. I want to see joy in the face of children. I want to see joy in the face of people that I teach. So I'm thinking about going back to school for my master's. But before I did that, I had to say to myself when I was going for my bachelor's that I was going to do what was unexpected of me to do. See, the first day I stepped into the school and I had to take my pictures and everything like that, I sat with my counselor and the counselor said, well, you know, based on, you know, your degree and everything like that, based on the degree that you're looking for, it's going to take you about 3 years to get through this program. He said I was going to graduate in 2015. 2015. I said, wait, hold on. I'm coming to the school in 2012. I start classes in 2012. Also, not only do I start classes in 2012, I'm coming into the school with a degree already. I have an associate's degree. So according to your setup, I should be done in 2014. They said, no, because there's other things that you need to do. I said, no, not at all. Because the things that you're asking for me to do, I've already done it in my last class. I've already done it with my last degree. So I said, no problem, cool. Just get me into the program. So I got myself into the program. I prayed and I asked God to show me the direction that I should go. And clearly, this direction that is in front of me is not the right direction. So show me where I need to go. Then He introduced me. God sent me to one person who led me to another person who led me to Dr. Parsons. And Dr. Parsons was not even a counselor for my concentration, my study. He said to me, listen, you look like the type of guy who wants to come in here, get the work done, and get up out of here. So I'm going to help you do that. He said, what's your goal? I said, my goal is to graduate by 2014. I'm only going to do 2 years here at this school. So whatever I have to do in order to make that happen, whatever classes I got to take, whatever grades I have to produce, I will do that. And I am going to do that because of the fact that I am determined enough to get through and finish and be done. Kush, baby, how you doing? So I focused on it. Paul, what's up, bro? And not only did I focus on that, but I made sure that nothing was going to stop me in order to get to that. So I started taking the classes that I needed to take. I started getting the grades I needed to get. I started off, let me see, I want to say maybe my first 5 classes were all A's. I had a 4.0 average in my classes. And then I started taking my business classes because he suggested that I take a business minor. And then I got into econs. Econs was just, oh my gosh. I hated econs. I hated econ. Econ 101. I hated that class so much because the teacher was an economics teacher, but he was that old school economics teacher. So you know how the commercials for dry eyes, clear eyes is awesome. Unlike the leading, that guy, that was him. And as soon as I step in the class, I'm falling asleep as I'm walking into the class. He was so boring. But guess what? I said to myself that I wasn't going to sit in this room. I wasn't going to sit in this chair and waste time. I have to move. I have to get going. I have to keep going. So I sat there and I took the class. I took the test. I did all that I could. And I got out that class with skin in my teeth. It was like a C minus, close to a D. But he curved. Everybody got curved. So I got a D, but he curved the grade to a C minus. But that damaged what I was trying to do. But I said, all right, I got past the class. That's all I needed to do. Keep it pushing, keep it moving. So that's what I did. And it got to the part where I did everything I needed to do until I got to the last semester. And the last semester, I got sick. I went on a hike with some kids from my church and kids from a couple other churches, and we took them out on this hike. And we went on this hike, and someone gave me some trail mix, and that trail mix did not do well for my stomach, and I ended up getting sick the next couple of days. And by the time I knew it, I was out and sitting in my bed for the last 3 weeks. I hadn't eaten solid foods. I couldn't keep down solid food. Not only that, I was losing weight. Not only that, I couldn't go to work. I couldn't go to school. And I started to say to myself, yeah. I said to myself, you know what? Maybe this wasn't part of God's plan. But then I said to myself, no, this has to be part of God's plan because everything else that I've been through has been opened up to me. So why on earth is God going to take me this far and to leave me right here, leave me so close to my degree that I'm not going to be able to hold it and touch it? I said, nah, this is not where my story is going to end. This is not where I'm going to end. So I got up out of that bed. I started to push myself. I started to get back to what I needed to do. I started to eat more. I started to work out a little bit. And even though I lost close to 30, 40 pounds, and even though I didn't look the same person that I was a couple weeks ago, I said that this wasn't going to defeat me. This wasn't going to stop me. So I went back to school and I said, listen, I understand that I missed 3 weeks of class, and I understand that I need to get through the end of this class in order for me to graduate. Tell me what I need to do, and I'm going to do it. My art teacher said, all right, you have 3 projects that you need to do. You need to start working on those 3 projects. Done. I went to my color theory teacher. What do I need to do? You need to work on these four projects that we worked on in order to catch up to the class. Bet. No problem. He said, I need to try that trail mix. No, you don't need to try that trail mix at all. Just drink water. I went to my art history teacher. She said I missed she said I missed the midterm and I missed the test. So she said the likelihood of you passing this class is very bleak. But I think that you will be able to do well because you look like that you have the fortitude and the passion to do it. I said, ma'am, just tell me what I need to do and I'm going to do it. If I need to be in class every time that there's class, I will be in class every single time. If I got to do any extra projects, I will do extra projects. I will do extra studies. I will write extra stuff. Whatever I need to do in order to pass, I am going to do it. Trust what's unseen. I didn't see my end in sight. I didn't see what I can be in sight. I didn't see the graduation in sight. All I know is that I need to keep pushing until I get to that finish line. So that's what I was told. And I did everything I had to do. And when May came around, I handed in all my final projects. I took all my final tests and I sat there and I waited for those grades to be distributed. And as I saw my grades said the following: color theory, A minus; drawing 4, A plus; art history, C. What was it? Studio art, where we pretty much just listened to different people talk and we had to write whatever. Anyway, A plus. So in other words, I had I had 3 A's and a C, and that's how I finished my last semester at that school. When I finished that, I looked at it and I cried. I looked at my grades and I cried and I said, you know what? This is going to be my story because I did not stop when I was told I wasn't going to make it. I did not stop when my body was getting too tired to keep pushing forward. I didn't stop. I kept going. And when May 23rd came around, in front of my family and friends, I walked across that stage, even though I didn't get my degree at the same time. You know how they do in college. They just give you a piece of paper that says your degree. The theatrics. I was given that piece of paper. I walked across the stage and I looked over. I pointed to my pops and my moms and everything like that to show them that, yeah, even though I was in a situation a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, that looked too bleak, that looked like I didn't have a prayer in sight, that looked like I didn't have any strength, I was able to get through what I had to get through. I was able to push what I had to push. Polly Z, how you doing this morning? Good to see you. I was able to get through and be successful and receive my degree. And once I was able to receive my degree, receive the things that I was working for, I said to myself that nothing in life can ever stop me again because I know what my God can do. I know what my God can do within me, even though my body may get tired, even though my stress level might be through the roof. Maybe I'm too shy and I don't have what it takes. God is still going to push me through and carry me through and help me to get to the other side. That's what God is going to do for me because he has done that for me, and he most certainly can do that for you. But Moses, but Moses, but Moses asked the question, who am I? Verse 12, God responded to Moses and said this, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who sent you. When you have brought people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your father has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. The name you shall call me for generation to generation. Said, go and assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what have been done to you in Egypt, and I have promised to bring you up and out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hittites, and Jebusites, a land that is flowing with milk and honey. We see God for who he is. And that's because we need to trust what's unseen. See, Moses had to trust what was unseen because Moses didn't know what to expect. Moses didn't know what he was going to expect. At the end of the day, we are still trying to find our path, our walk with God. We are still trying to go the path of righteousness in order to understand where we should be. It is my prayer for us this morning that not only will we focus on that path, that we would trust the distance, the twists and turns to that path. And at the end of the day, we will get to where we need to be. So we focus. We see God for who he is. We experience him. And not only do we experience God, but we trust what we can't see. This morning, that was our devotion topic this morning. Trust what you can't see. It's unseen. By trusting in what's unseen, you will be able to see the things that you cannot see with your two eyes. You'll see God for who he is and what he's done. We're going to do our roll call. We're going to pray. So, Rosie, good to see you. Brother Keith, good to see you. Sister Judy, good to see you. Brother Jerome, good to see you, man. Brother Paul, good to see you. My mother Marisol, Sister Gibson, good to see you. Ananias, blessings, good to see you. Bombshell, you be safe out there, all right, Bombshell? I know you just left. You be safe out there. Dino, good to see you. Kush Baby, good to see you. Ernesto, good to see you. Miami Bay, blessings, good to see you this morning. I am Rob Montana. Good to see you this morning. Blessings. Cool. All right. Let's pray. Father God in heaven, we want to thank you, Lord, for giving us this opportunity this morning to spend time again in your word, for allowing us this time, dear Father, to spend with you. Lord God, we are not worthy for your time, your presence, but Lord, you continue to show us the way, show us the truth, and show us the light. Father God, we ask you that you will continue to uphold us, dear Lord, lift us up, dear Lord. Help us, Lord, that we will continue to be lifted up by you. Continue to grant us this opportunity each day, Father, to be growing and growing and growing, so that we will be able to be more and more like you, Father God. Help us to trust in the things that are unseen. In other words, to have trust in our faith. Continue to bless us and keep us, dear Lord. Help us throughout this day. Help us to stay cool this day. And help us, dear Lord, that we will continue to fight the good fight and continue to lean on you for all of our wisdom, guidance, and mercy. Lead into action in the precious name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. All right, everyone. Once again, I just want to thank you all for joining me this morning. I hope you all continue to have a great rest of the day. Continue to keep a watchful eye on the things that go on in your life, and also have faith in the things that are unseen. Trust in the Lord. You guys have a great day. Have a blessed day. Have a strong day. Have a happy Sabbath. I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. Take care.